The British Empire's rule in India spanned over 2 centuries and had a significant impact on the country. While summarizing the dark side of British rule in India in a serial format may not capture the full complexity of the historical context, I can provide you with a series of events and issues that are commonly highlighted as problematic aspects of British colonialism in India. Here's a brief overview. Economic exploitation. The British East India Company established a monopoly over trade, exploited Indian resources, and implemented policies that favored British industries. This led to the destruction of local industries and widespread poverty among the Indian population. Famines. The British policies and economic exploitation resulted in several devastating famines in India, such as the Bengal famine of 1770 and the Great Famine of 1876–78. The British administration's inadequate response to these famines and their failure to provide relief exacerbated the suffering and loss of life. Land revenue policies. The British introduced the permanent settlement system and later the Ryotwari system, which imposed heavy land taxes on Indian farmers. These policies often led to landlessness, indebtedness, and forced evictions, causing significant hardship for the rural population. Cultural suppression. The British administration undermined Indian cultural practices, education systems, and traditional industries. They implemented policies that aimed to anglicize Indian society and marginalized local languages and cultural practices. Social discrimination. The British implemented discriminatory policies that favored Europeans over Indians. Indians were treated as second-class citizens and were excluded from high-ranking administrative and military positions. The implementation of the doctrine of lapse and the suppression of the Indian Rebellion of 1857 are examples of British actions that fueled social tensions. Partition of Bengal. The British partitioned Bengal in 1905, which ignited communal tensions between Hindus and Muslims. The division was seen as a deliberate policy to weaken the growing nationalist movement in India. Jallianwala Bagh Massacre. In 1919, British troops, under the command of General Reginald Dyer, opened fire on a peaceful gathering in Jallianwala Bagh, Amritsar, resulting in the death of hundreds of unarmed civilians. The incident is seen as a brutal example of British repression and led to widespread condemnation. It's important to remember that this is just a brief overview, and the impact of British colonial rule in India was multifaceted and complex. Many other aspects of British rule in India have been subject to scrutiny and criticism.